welcome back. Tim Moy, our Chief of Security, is here to tell us about the gates that are now open and also some other issues that we wanted to make you aware of. Thank you for being with us again.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate that.
All right, so 2 and 8 are now open.
They are. I think it's going pretty well.
Okay.
You know, I think just like with 5 and 6, when those first opened up, we had a few glitches we had to work through. Same thing at 2 and 8. You know, the first few days are always a little rocky, but since then things have been running pretty smooth there.
Okay.
I think early on, gate 2 first of all is a short entry. And so with Paseo de Valencia right there, the short driveway, if vehicles get stacked up, we got to make sure that we're moving them through quickly. And one of the issues we've had where the residents, without an RFID, they go through that resident lane and expecting to just have the ambassador pop that gate arm open. That resident lane is only for vehicles with RFIDs.
Okay.
So if you don't have an RFID, you've got to use the guest lane.
Okay.
So we would prefer our residents to go down, get that RFID so that they can just zip on through the resident lane.
Okay, let's remind everybody what an RFID is.
Yeah, that's a radio frequency identification decal.
So is it just something that goes on the windshield?
It is, and not on the windshield.
Okay.
It's on the headlight.
Oh, all right.
So there's 2 decals. You have that GRF decal that's on your windshield.
Okay.
And that's so we can identify that your vehicle's registered, you're a member here, you live in the village. And that RFID decal, it's that transparent, small, about 3 inches long. It goes on your headlight, and that's what triggers the gate arm to open up.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the retrofitting that you did was the
right. So we did that whole
sensors.
rollout.
Okay.
Boy, was that about 2 years ago?
Right.
And I think we had about 10,000 vehicles, registered vehicles, which was great. Now we've got, I think around 17,000, just over 17,000 vehicles in the community. However, only 80% of those have RFIDs. So we still need that about 20% more to come in and get their RFIDs.
Right. So I'm imagining what's happening is when they go through the resident one and it's not opening, then what happens? Does the guard have to come out and speak to them?
Right. Yeah. So there is a little bit of a safety issue as well. You know, we try to get them to roll down their window and just remind them, hey, go pick up an RFID. You have to have one. There have been a few that do have their RFIDs and it's not working.
Okay.
So, you know, when we did the initial rollout, we brought in some temps and a lot of data entry. So there were a few instances where we just enter the wrong numbers. So we get that information, we check it, and if need be, we have the person come in and we just reapply another RFID. But that's far and few between for the most part.
Sometimes those things can be pretty sensitive. Like if your car is dirty, then the sensor may not work. So make sure you keep your car clean.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And depending on where it's placed on your vehicle, how high your vehicle sits, some vehicles, as the driver's approach, will trigger the gate 10 feet away. Others, you have to be 3 to 5 feet away. So as you approach, just slow down, give the reader an opportunity to pick up on that RFID, and then it'll pop it open.
Right, because I have known that where I live, the same kind of thing is if you go too fast, it doesn't read. You have to back up and keep trying. And it does that. So for those who don't have an RFID, what are some things they need to do? Right.
Well, we recommend they go into resident services. You can park in the back. There's a parking space right by the front door reserved for RFID. You go in there. Now there is a $25 fee for those RFIDs. Initially, right. And so when we had the rollout a few years ago, we just offered it for free. But there is a cost. They are somewhat expensive.
Yeah.
And you know, it is what it is. If you want the efficiency to just be able to run through that lane, there is a small cost to it.
Okay.
So I was out there the other day at gate 2, and I noticed some residents were going through the guest lane, even though they were members here. I asked them, hey, you just go pick one up. You know, you can go through that other lane. You don't have to wait with guests and visitors. And I said, well, we're not going to pay. I'm not going to do that.
Oh.
Well, okay, but at least they're going through the guest lane.
Right.
And they're not holding up the resident lane. Right. So if you don't want to purchase that RFID, just make sure you're using the guest lane. And we'll do our best to keep the traffic flowing.
Okay.
And see how it goes.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you got 2 and 8 open now.
Right.
So now let's talk about the construction that's going on gates 3 and 7.
Right, yes. So first of all, I want to commend a few people. Ernesto Munoz and his team, Steve Warmbear as a project manager, doing a great job on that. The rain is behind us now. They're moving along very quickly. I believe they closed gates 3 and 7 April 8th.
Okay.
Looking at 4 to 6 weeks for completion of that. And of course, we've got other areas opened up, alternate routes for our residents to take. But there is a little issue coming up with gate 7 here shortly.
Okay.
I want to make you aware of.
Okay.
And make at least our residents aware.
Yeah, we'll definitely let everybody know how that's going to work.
But it has to do with golf cart access
Okay.
here, and that's coming up on May 2nd and 3rd. They have to slurry gate 7. Now, if
Okay.
you know gate 7, that's one of the primary routes for our golf cart owners. If they're golfing, they come across, they go behind Clubhouse 7. There's a little pathway, takes them right up to gate 7, and then they've got access to that side of the community.
Okay.
Problem is they're going to be slurring those roadways, and that's going to be shut down. So for 2 days,
Okay.
they're going to have to go on Moulton to Santa Maria and enter gate 8. I think we have the map up.
Yeah, there is a map.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so they're going to have to go on to Moulton.
On Moulton, so drive northbound on Moulton. If you look at the map of the blue there, and then you turn westbound on Santa Maria,
Okay.
and then you'll see the gate 8 entrance. It's only for 2 days.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And we're going to send some maps out and some directions here with the blast on Friday, which reminds me, can I do a quick plug?
Of course you can.
All right, very good, thank you. Hey, one of the issues that we have is trying to reach all our members, and we use the blast to send out important information.
Right.
But if we don't have your contact information, we don't have any way of getting a hold of you, especially in the event of an emergency. We want to be able to text, send you a message on your phone or on your computer. And if you have not signed up, if our residents have not signed up, we're just going to encourage you to pick up this Code Red emergency form. You can pick them up right downstairs in the community center at the front desk. Fill it out, turn it in. We'll update all your information. You'll get that important information weekly from us. So at least we can get a hold of you when we need to, and with some of the important things that are taking place here.
And you said that was in the Breeze? No.
I think it's in the blast.
Oh, in the blast. Okay, and that's
right.
something that comes out, what, every Friday?
Every Friday. And
Okay.
so that's Eileen, Paulin and her team
Okay.
do a great job, the marketing team, get that information out. And there's some really interesting articles and newsworthy events that are taking place just to make you aware of. There's so much going on here in the village.
Oh, I know.
Right.
I know. Always crazy.
Yeah, so with gate 3 and 7, I think I said Ernesto and his team, you got Chuck Holland doing the IT part of it.
Right.
You have Chris Spar and Resident Services running out, putting RFIDs. So it's a full-on team effort here, and our gate ambassadors are the ones who are working it day in and day out.
Right.
So it's going well.
Good,
Right.
good. Well, excellent. Anything else?
Yes, matter of fact.
Oh, you have more.
I do. I just one more thing from security.
Okay.
Just a reminder for our residents. Many of you or many of our residents have permanent pass holders. You get 5 of those a year.
Okay.
But if your guest decided to stay the night, you have to get an overnight parking pass.
Okay.
Our
The OPPs.
I'll check you out there,
yeah,
sister.
right.
Look at you. You know it. All right. So those OPPs. Our night shift is issuing quite a few citations.
Okay.
So people are not getting the OPPs. And hey, it's good to know that our security officers are out and about. They're in your cul-de-sacs. They're keeping things safe. But while they're out there, watching for other things, they are looking at vehicles. And for those vehicles that don't have a decal or don't have an OPP, they're going to be getting a notice of violation.
Tell me something. I actually was talking to somebody yesterday regarding how long someone can stay overnight, if it was a relative or whatever. Go over that policy.
Right, 60 days a year. That's it.
A year?
A year.
Is that like consecutive days?
No, it's 60 days total.
Oh, total.
So you can have a guest, family coming in, and we recognize that, and we want them to be able to come in, but it's only for 60 days.
Okay.
You get past 60 days, I don't think you're a guest. I think you're a resident.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I would call them an illegal occupant.
Oh.
And then we're going to, security and compliance will get involved at that point.
Oh,
We
I
do
see.
have some issues with illegal occupants.
Okay.
You know, so our residents are doing their part. They're paying for amenities.
Right.
So shouldn't everyone? And they've had to apply. They've had to meet the standard to be a resident here.
Right.
So we believe everybody should. And so
Okay.
for those who are trying to skirt the system, we're going to do our best
Right.
to hold them accountable as well.
All right. Well, thank goodness you guys are on it.
There you go.
All right.
Very
Thank
good.
you. I'm going to grab this sheet of paper and show everybody one more time that you can get this in resident services, so you can fill this out and make sure that you will be on the list every week to get more information about gates and all the activities that are going on here and safety. Thank you so much.
Very
It was
good.
nice
Thank
to see you.
You too.
And we'll be right back after this.